So this was about the early 90s. I was in prison here in Texas, and I was sitting in the day room, and I was talking to this other guy, and I heard over the intercom, the guy yelled out, "Jehovah's Witnesses all the way out! Jehovah's Witnesses all the way out!" And I looked at the guy, I said, "What did they say?" And he said, "They said Jehovah's Witnesses all the way out." Man, I jumped up from that table, shot down to the chapel, and that was my first Jehovah's Witness meeting I ever went to inside a prison. And there was a local, he's the PO of the local congregation there. And he was coming in, him and various other brothers and so forth. And I needed that at that time, because I needed to keep my mind positive. As you can imagine, being incarcerated is stressful, stuff like that. So you need something to keep your mind occupied. And so that fit the bill. And I had this brother, he thought the world of him. He would bring us all kind of publications and books, insight on the scriptures, Revelation's grand climax at hand. And I would devour all the information and just soak it all up. And so what it's really like to be a Jehovah's Witness in prison is there was other ones down there too. Some of them actually got baptized in prison. Now, I never did go that far as to get baptized in prison. I became an unbaptized publisher. But I wasn't going to go that far to be baptized in prison because, I wasn't sure if I was through my previous lifestyle, involving drugs, alcohol, and all that kind of thing. And so I just stayed at unbaptized publisher. But the thing was like it's like on the outside, witnesses were going from door to door. Many times, some brothers would go from cell to cell, or we'll be on the rec yard and witness to individuals. And many times I sit on the rec yard and I would take out the inside scriptures with me, have my Bible with me, and I'd be out there witnessing to various ones. I'm talking to like ones who was Muslim and so forth, Islam. I know I witnessed to one guy in particular a lot, and so for a 7-day evangelist, I witnessed to him and everything, and we got into deep discussions about Revelation and so forth. And so that helped my time to go by, and it was something that was positive. And because it's Bible, it's upbuilding and so forth like that. The thing with that and everything was when I got out again, it didn't last. Everything that I learned, I tried to go to the hall and everything like that, and I just got caught back up in my lifestyle, drugs and everything, so forth. And the thing I always tell people is this: there's many different roles to help a person to get away from that particular lifestyle, especially when it comes to drugs and everything, drugs and alcohol, stuff like that. Now, like many witnesses believe, and the society actually has it on, I think, on JW.org and the publications dealing with such individuals, experiences, life experiences, and so forth, and how individuals, because of the Bible, the truth, and what they call the truth and everything, they're able to change their life. Well, that didn't work for me. That did not work for me and everything. Um, I tried it. I tried going to the Kingdom Hall and studying again and so forth, and it just didn't work for me. Because even though I was raised as a witness, as I spoke of one of my previous videos, I was raised around the truth, but I never did make the truth my own. I never took it seriously, and never really wanted to be a witness when I was younger and everything. So, but anyhow, so I did try and everything. I got one sister in particular. She totally believes that I got one brother. He's still out there. He's been out there. He's old, a few years older than me, and he's been out there forever. In the streets and everything. And she believes that that Jehovah can save him, and that might work for some individuals. Even like put the Jehovah's Witnesses aside, you get individuals who go to church. They just they get to a certain church and everything. They believe in the Bible and they're able to overcome past lifestyles of addiction and criminal activities and things of that nature. But it took a program, an intense treatment program, um, drug program, to really set me free from my addictive lifestyle and everything. And that's what worked for me and has kept me clean and sober for over 27 years now and everything. So I'm very thankful for that program. Now, of course, like I said, being in prison and everything like that, and having your mind occupied, because I can sit up, in my cell, and I can study and read all the watchtowers, the weight magazines, and everything, and so forth, and that really helped me to stay positive. Because the funny thing is like when I first got locked up. But this in this particular unit here, I'm talking about when I found out about the meetings and everything. I would write my family and everything because most of my family are witnesses, and so these particular ones I would write, these were all witnesses. Now this is funny here is that I would write them in. I might have got maybe a couple of letters, 2 or 3 letters. I was down there for like I think 3.5 years at that time, and so I got very few letters in that time period. They just wouldn't write me. And first, like it was a shock to me. I said, "What? No, what? No, why? I thought, but I had to realize and come to terms and grip with something. Okay, now I had to reflect back on what I was doing when I was out there. I wasn't around them. I was out there, running the streets, doing what I was doing and everything like that. And so I said to myself, you know what? I put myself in a situation. They ain't got to do this time with me. I got to do this time myself, and that helped me. But to keep my sanity, to keep my peace within myself, and to stay strong and finish, doing my time and everything. And I had a couple ones that did right, and so for actually the one who wrote the most, who sent me money was one of my younger brothers, and he was not a witness. None of my witness family at that time sent me publications, sent me encouraging letters, trying to witness to me, and I was a captive audience for them. They could have got all kind of time for the month, if they had just, wrote me and communicate with me. But for every reason, they chose not to. And later on, I told them that, how I had to emotionally block out family and everything to keep my sanity, to keep my peace of mind and everything and so forth. And what it did, what helped me, because like it was like to me, like when I look back on it now, some right the other day, I said it's like they were shunning me. And I wasn't even baptized, and they were shunning me. So shunning in my family, you know, towards me, this is what I feel and I see it, had been happening for a long period of time. So now that I am an XJW, I feel like I'm shunning them. Of course, of course they shunning me and everything like that and so forth. But I'm also shunning them. I chose because when I wrote that letter to my congregation and told them I no longer want to be part of the organization. Yeah, I was shunning them as well and so forth. And I want to throw this in here real quick too. Sometimes I get in comments and everything. Individuals, I guess they still they have to be witnesses by the comments and everything, or sympathizers of the witnesses. And I never respond to their comments because I'm like, you're not taking the truth seriously. Because if so, you wouldn't be commenting on a XJW, an apostate channel. It doesn't make no sense. So I don't respond to the comments and everything like that. But the others, of course, I do. But back to the story about being at the time a witness in prison. I remember some guys I'll be sitting in the day room a lot of times because some guys are coming to me and they be everybody likes to talk about what they were doing when they was out there and everything. And I got to a point where listen here, man, I'm tired of hearing those stories. You got nothing positive to talk to me about and everything. If you don't want to talk about the Bible or talk about something that you're gonna do to better your life when you get out of here, I didn't want to hear it and everything. And so I remember times there's one brother down there. My charges were like non-violent, like theft, burglary, and stuff like that. But this one brother down here, he was down there for murder, and he had been in this fellowship like I think 3 times. And I sit and talk with him one time and so forth, and we reminisce about the old assemblies because as a kid, growing up around the truth and everything, I remember the old assemblies. I remember when they used to have the live orchestra playing at the assemblies and so forth, the instruments and everything. We used to talk about the food they used to sell at the assemblies. Remember the fruit baskets? If any of y'all been, been in the organization that long at that time period before, particularly back in the '70s probably. And I remember going to assemblies in Canada and so forth, because I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I remember going to assemblies in Canada and sitting in the baseball stadiums, or in Massachusetts. I know we used to go to like a dog track, a dog racetrack, and so forth, and have assemblies and everything. And it would rain, and then they would stretch out the plastic and cover those who were exposed to the elements and everything. And so we would sit and reminisce about what it was like growing up around the organization when we was younger and so forth. But he was down there for murder, butchering people and stuff like that. And he surprisingly he got out, but he had been disfellowshipped 3 times. And but that was the source of encouragement that I had. I didn't get none from my family, you know, and stuff like that. So after a while, I just quit trying to write letters, and I just did my time and everything. And fortunately for me, I did get the treatment that I needed. I'm back in about the mid 90s. I got the treatment that I needed and so forth. And about 90, 95, 96. And since then, I've been on the straight and narrow and so forth. So that's pretty much it on what it was like to be a witness in prison. Just studying. You preach to us. I would report time into the congregation because we were a part of that congregation locally, and so we kind of worked the brothers. In fact, we would give parts and everything in the chapel and so forth. Like we conduct meetings. I think we did like one meeting a week. I think it was we would have, and I think it was like midweek or something like that. And so, but what it helped too is that the people respect, because I was serious. I was very serious about my studying and at the time talking to other individuals about the Bible. So people respected you and everything, and the prison guards respected you and so forth. And so I had a job where I would actually work the graveyard shift up at the. I started working, during the day at the chicken houses. They got all these long buildings full of chickens and cages, is laying eggs out there. We just have to debeat them, and so you had like a heated razor, and you to debeat the chickens so they won't peck each other to death inside the cages. And they just lay the eggs, and they would shit all day, and you had to get wheelbarrows and shovels and get that stuff out of there and dump it. They had a spot you dump that and everything. And finally, I started working up there at night, and I would leave actually from out of the prison, and they would give me a sack lunch, and I walk up the hill to the chicken houses, and there's an office up there and everything. I had me a pot of coffee up there, radio up there, and there's a telephone. And so I think one time I had to call in because there was a coyote up there. And inside, the small chickens, the baby chickens, they roam freely inside, these chicken coops, long chicken coops. And Coyote, man, he was in there having him a ball, eating the baby chickens up. And so they had to come up there. They came up there. One of the guys came up there with a 22 rifle, and shot him and killed him and so forth. But outside of that, I had no troubles and everything. I had no problems. It did help me at that time, because I needed something to occupy my mind with and to stay positive and so forth. So it did work in that way and everything. I would go on the rec yard, and physical training, strength training is very important because that helps with your overall, keep you from being depressed and being anxious and stuff like that. Or if you got, if you're angry, work off that anger and the iron, so forth. Because I was a short timer, I wasn't doing no long stretch, nothing like that down there. And so me actually, it was interesting was that me and these about 2 other guys work out together all the time in the yard. And they had took away the free weights. They used to have free weights like the barbells with the big plates and everything. They took them away, and we had a weight machine out there. And we would work that weight machine and everything. And actually, this guy right here, I seen him. He's from out Dallas, Texas. I actually seen him when I was out. I had got baptized, got married, and me and my wife and some other friends at that time and everything, we was out in the preaching work in these apartments, and there he was, and he had married a woman who was a preacher, and so a lot of times, a lot of guys get out and they drop the Bible and they don't pick it up no more, and so forth. But I got my life together and got it cleaned up, and I was in the truth, baptized, and so that's how that went and everything. But I thought I'd get on real quick and share that little part, that little chapter of my life and everything, and what it was like to be a witness, locked up and incarcerated and so forth. Okay, till our next video. I appreciate y'all watching our videos. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes, the subscriptions. And so we're gonna keep providing our story, and because it resonate. I don't know about this one right here, but many of our stories resonate with one another and so forth. And we all can relate to what we went through once inside the organization. Now we're out and we're moving forward. All right, folks. Talk to you later.